All
Hey,
right, all right. Give
you
me.
know that intro will be losing sound between when it pops up the word democracy. It has no
Well, I mean,
sound.
that's on purpose. That was
Oh,
on purpose. I can feel something in after a while. At the same time, you know, it's just like three different videos cut in one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just let you know.
I got you. I got you. I appreciate you. Kind of made me lose the train. All right. So, hey, what's going on? You here with Emil, and you're also here with Thomas. We are going to be going through the fourth and fifth chapter of the Democracy Forward's overview of the Mandate for Leadership 2025 Project 2025, the playbook that the Republicans are now implementing. So, Thomas, got anything to say before we get started?
I mean, it feels like it's been a minute since we've been here. I know we took a day off, but shoot, I'm ready to get back into it. See what is cooking. What chapter four? You go into it and see the bulletin reports about it.
All right. So, chapter 4 is enable discrimination across society. All right.
Mm.
That's what we're going to be focused on today. All right. Enable discrimination across society. Threatened by decades in advancing civil rights and equality for all, the authors of Project 2025 want to create a country that allows for more discrimination where we live, study, work, and play, and roll back hard fought victories by our movements for progress. One, how they'll do it. Embolden racial discrimination in everything from housing to education to employment. Project 2025 proposes that the president should remove a key tool that the federal government uses to enforce civil rights protection. Project 2025 proposes that the federal government should, there's no should in there. Government stop the long-standing use of desperate impact in assessing discrimination by ending its use in discrimination cases and even bringing lawsuits that challenge these standards constitutionally. The desperate impact standard has long been used in determining discrimination under Title 6 and Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Fair Housing Act of 1968. It is important for evaluating when facially neutral programs have desperate impacts on certain
Disparate,
groups of people. Huh?
disparate.
Disparate. All right. Disparate impacts on certain groups of people. The Civil Rights Division of the DOJ determines um, disparate impact as does the adverse effect of the policy or practice fall disproportionately on a race, color, or national origin group. This standard provides an important remedy for DOJ and others to bring civil rights cases when groups of people have their civil rights violated in areas such as employment discrimination and fair housing. So discontinuing its use will make it harder for the federal government to enforce civil rights protections in everything from housing to education to employment. The disparate impact standards have long been ruled constitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court. So Project 2025's attempts are baseless. In their own words, courts have ruled that even without evidence of overt intentional discrimination, such results might suggest discrimination. This doctrine of desperate, how you say it again?
Disparate.
Disparate impact could be ended legislatively or at least narrowed through the regulatory processed by a future administration. Mandate for leadership, page 72 and page 583. What do you got to say about that, man?
Um, I mean, we gotta get into the meat and potatoes, but from what was just said, based on what they, it sounds like they don't have all the facts because what I've seen so far in today's April 4th, 2025. He did try to roll back Bill Clinton's federal workers discrimination or whatever, but it doesn't really matter because the 1964 Civil Rights Act is still in play. So even if he takes some things out of for redundancy, it's really not going to affect. And even if it was to try to push a narrative to let people be more discriminatory, people are not going to be any less discriminatory than they already been, because there's no way that somebody who is this a discriminatory person is going to be less or more based on what the law says. People are going to be racist, whatever they want to be. People are going to reject people whenever they wanted to. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 2025. People are going to do what they want to do. And laws do not control people.
Well, I mean, it doesn't, but at the same time, I appreciate the laws, even if people have to sue to make it happen. Are you are familiar with some of the racist groups that had been sued by the civil rights movement, and some of their slogans were actually they sued them for that, and every time they used that slogan, they got paid. Stuff like that. That's what a lot of the civil rights
So it really
do
just, it
behind
sounds
the
like it
scenes
just
that you
comes
don't see.
down, like you said, like I was about to say, but you have already said it. It just seems like legislative for lawsuits, and if we're just talking about money, like money is not going to change the atmosphere of this country. Just like the law is not going to change the atmosphere of the country. If we're just looking to get paid every time somebody discriminate against us, then that's easy. Money is nothing. So somebody can do any type of crime, and as long as they have the money to pay for it, doesn't mean that the crime wasn't already done, the effect wasn't already done, the trauma wasn't already established. It does not change anything. It just allows people to get paid, and if all we're looking for is to get paid, then we're not really fighting for equality or to fight against discrimination. We're just fighting for money, and that
Well,
takes
that
away.
is a lot of people. That's what a lot of people do, though. All they do is go, and what I keep telling you about even thieves, robbers, and murderers and rapists love their family, meaning that when they kill something or they rob something, what are they doing it for? They're doing it for their family half the time, So I feel like us not caring about the other man is a way of not looking out, and all we're thinking about is ourselves. And
Yeah,
I
but
just
that's how I feel that people are doing when they're going for lawsuits for money. I want people to be up there like a mama who just lost their son and was saying, I don't care if they pay restitutions. I don't care if the city pays me $1 million. I can never get my son back, because that's what really matters. Because that the emotion and the effect is downplayed by the effects of money. Because now people can't even say, is this really discriminatory, or is they just looking for a dollar? And it just defranchises the whole movement.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're trying to allude to. I guess my whole thing about that is the fact that if something like that takes money out of my kid's mouth, I'm gonna watch what I say. That comes out, whatever comes out my mouth, I'm now going to watch what comes out my mouth if I can't put food in my child's mouth.
Yeah, but that's
You know,
coming from an average person standpoint. When we're talking about discrimination, it's coming from people of power, people who own these businesses, people who have money. That it doesn't matter if I pay you $100,000 for my discrimination act, because that's a drop in the bucket to me. I pay you to get
well,
gone.
you keep doing that, and we gonna keep giving these black scholarships out and whatever other kind of scholarships out, And I'm just talking about that one case I'm referring to. Let me look up that case, but we'll look up that case later. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop a note about that case, and we're gonna revisit that one, and it'll be the case that the racist group were sued for their name. All right. So that's something that we can come back to. So let's go ahead and read part of what the mandate says. It says page 72, so I'm gonna go up about 3 pages. I'm gonna go up a couple pages. So it says analyze and recommendations. Okay, what is it supposed to be talking about? So this is managing the bureaucracy. The chapter comes out of managing the bureaucracy. All right, so let me go ahead and copy that. All right.
And these are the sources: Donald Devin, Dennis Dean Kirk, and Paul Danes.
Yeah. Those are the people. Um, I'll write that down. Donald Devine. Because my whole thing is after we do a deep dive of the executive branch, we're then gonna have to do a deep dive of these people.
Oh, most definitely, because I want to know who wrote this.
Yeah. You know.
Shoot, you want me to go ahead and read, or you want to take over?
Oh no, you good. You good. All right. So overview. From the very first mandate for leadership, the personnel is policy theme has been the fundamental principle guiding the government's personnel management. At the U.S. Constitution makes clear the president's appointment, direction, and removal of authorities are the central elements of his executive power. In implementing that power, the people and the president deserve the most talented and responsible workforce possible, who the president assigns to design and implement his political policy agenda will determine whether he can carry out the responsibilities given to him by the American people. The president must recognize that whoever holds a government position sets its policy. To fulfill an electoral mandate, he must therefore give personnel management his highest priority, including cabinet level presidents. The federal government's immense bureaucracy spreads into hundreds of agencies and thousands of units and is centered and overseen at the top by key central personnel agencies in their governing laws and regulations. The major separate personnel agencies in the national government today are OPM, Office of Personnel Management, the Merit System Protection Board, MSPB, the Federal Labor Relations Authority, FLRA, and the Office Special Counsel, OSC. We're gonna have to copy and paste this real quick. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna copy and paste this and put it into our notes. All right, and we are continuing on. We put 69 page. Got to put the page after that number though, right? All right, moving on. Title 5 of the U.S. Code charges the OPM with executing, administrating, and enforcing the rules, regulations, and laws governing the civil service. It grants the OPM direct responsibility for activities like retirement pay, health, training, federal unionization, suitability, and classification functions not specifically granted to other agencies by statute. The agency's director is charged with aiding the president, as the president may request, in preparing such civil services rules as the president prescribes and otherwise advising the president on actions that may be taken to promote an efficient civil service and systematic application of the merit system principles, including recommending policies relating to the selection, promotion, transfer, performance, pay, conditions of service, tenure, and separation of employees. The MSPB is the lead adjudicator for hearing and resolving cases and controversies for 2.2 million federal employees. You say what, sir?
Can't say anything.
All right. It is required to conduct fair and neutral case adjudications, regulatory reviews, and actions and studies to improve the workforce. Is court-like adjudication investigate and hear Appeals from agencies, actions such as furloughs, suspensions, demotions, and terminations are appealable to the U.S. Court of Appeals. The FLRA hears appeals of agencies' personnel cases involving federal labor grievances, procedures to provide judicial review with binding decisions appealable to appeals courts. It interprets the rights and duties of agencies and employee labor organizations. On management rights, OPM interpretations recognizes recognition of labor organizations and unfair labor practices. Under the general principle of bargaining in good faith and compelling need, the OSC serves as the investigator, mediator, publisher, and prosecutor before the MSPB with respect to agency and employees regarding prohibited personnel practices. Hatch Act politicization, Uniform Service Employment and Re-employment Rights Act issues, and whistleblower complaints. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, has general responsibility for reviewing charges of employee discrimination against all civil rights breaches. However, it also administers a government employee section that investigates and adjudicates federal employee complaints concerning equal employment violations, as with the private sector. This makes the agency an additional de facto factor in government personnel management. While not personnel agencies per se, the General Service Administration, GSA, is charged with general supervision of contractors. Today, there are many more contractors in government that there are civil service employees. The GSA must therefore be part of any personnel management discussion. So this is them understanding the
Yeah, I'm gonna
roles that
explain the roles of what each sector do, and before we get into what they're trying to do with each sector.
exactly. Okay, so I mean, what are you catching what the roles do before we go through it? Because the thing is, both of us are not political people that we dive into this stuff every day, so it's good for us to kind of rehatch before we always get into. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, some of the stuff like some of them groups already we're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think everybody should know who the EEOC is. Like anybody who's employed should know who like gives us our rights and our employment rights and what they can and cannot do. And if you
Well,
ever
you
feel
can't
like
automatically assume that because not everyone actually pays attention.
no, I said everyone should know who's
They
employed.
should, right? They
Yeah,
should. Don't mean they
because
do.
if you ever feel violated at your job, this is just a PSA. The EOC that's in your vicinity will protect you. They'll hire lawyers for you. They will help you file anything that they feel has been violated, and it'll be free of charge. And you still get paid for it. So trust me, it's definitely something for any working person that is some. But that's a government agency that you definitely want to know and wants to be friends with.
Yeah, one thing about it is they're talking about this Hatch Act. So I don't know what that Hatch Act is about. So I'm just making a note that we need to figure that one out after a while. So again, what I'm saying is we're just going through what like because what I like to do is to have other people come and take the journey with us, and then we can kind of have debate with them. This weekend when I'm going to be out April 5th, we are going to be conducting interviews with people, and at that point in time, I will be giving them some information, and some of them may be joining us in a couple weeks. This
Okay.
right here, huh?
Oh yeah, I said okay. Yeah, but those things like the Hatch Act, yeah, that's something that definitely got to be looked up because we can't really discuss on what they're trying to show us or tell us by just saying Hatch Act or the Reemployment Act or Rights Act. I mean, like I don't. those are obviously laws that help, possibly could help people, is what I'm understanding. And so if, especially the Reemployment Rights Act. So I'm guessing that's for retaliation. I don't know. I haven't looked at the law about that. So that's something we
Well, I
definitely.
mean, it's they're apparently those kind of like you're saying, it's like the whistleblower. You see that they're saying like they're talking about it, and it's like they're talking about it. They're let you know like, hey, we may try to do something about these whistleblowers.
Yeah, for sure. But they're just going over what all these roles do, and it seems like some of these, like most of these roles, are the agency that protect either federal workers or the everyday working people and what their rights are.
Yeah. So it says right here, the OPM managing the federal bureaucracy at the very pinnacle of the modern progressive program to make government competence stands the ideal of professionalized career civil service. Since the turn of the 20th century, progressives have sought a system that could effectively select, train, reward, and guard from partisan influences. The neutral, the uh, the natural, the neutral scientific experts they believe are required to staff the national government and run the administrative state. Their U.S. system had was initiated by the Pendleton Act of 1883 and institutionalized in the 1930s New Deal to set principles and practices that were meant to ensure that expert merit rather than partisan favors or personal favoritism ruled within the federal bureaucracy. Yet, as public frustrations with the civil service has grown, generating calls to drain the swamp, it has become clear that the project has had some serious unintended consequences. The civil service was devised to replace the amateurish and presumed corruption of the old spoil system, wherein government jobs rewarded loyal partisans who might or might not have professional backgrounds. Although the system appeared to be sufficient for the nation's first century, progressive intellectuals and activists demand a more professionalized, scientific, and politically neutral administration, progressive design and merit system to promote expertise and shield bureaucrats from partisan political pressure. But it is soon began to insulate civil servants from accountability. The modern merit system increasingly made it almost impossible to fire all but the most incompetent civil servants. Complying with arcane rules regarding recruiting, rating, hiring, and firing simply replaced the goal of cultivating competence and expertise. In the 1970s, Georgia Democrat Governor Jimmy Carter, then a political unknown, ran for president supporting New Deal programs and their Great Society expansion by opposing the way they were being administrated. The policies were not actually reducing poverty, increasing prosperity, or increasing the environment. He argued, and to make them work required fundamental bureaucratic reform. He correctly charged that almost all government employees are rated as successful. All receive the same pay regardless of performance, and even the worst were impossible to fire. He won the presidency.
Mm. So what I got from that is basically, Trump has an agenda to downsize the government, and he needs to reform this particular section of the government to allow him to do so. Like it was brought up in the paragraph that uh, the most incompetent people couldn't be discriminated against or fired based on their lack of education, and that was cool back in like way back when. But now we're in the 21st century, and we're still allowing the system to go through, and so it's getting hard to fire. But I can also see On the other hand, how it can fit an agenda to, hey, I'm gonna make it easier to fire anybody, whether they is a competent or incompetent federal worker. Whoever I need to get out the way, I can get them out the way. I can see both sides of it. I mean,
So I feel like the argument will be which is worse, when someone's too hard to fire, when someone's too easy to fire. So
no, I mean, I might be naive. I might be an optimist, but I always feel like there's a balance in between. When I feel like people are swinging to either or extreme, it doesn't necessarily work out. And like, and um all it does is leave the next president to clean up the previous president's mess, or leaves Congress tied up where we might have a government shutdown because we can't agree on which extreme we want to go through. And I
I
mean,
mean, the thing is, I feel like all extremes are bad. You
they
really,
are. They are. That's why I said I
yeah,
don't agree with any far left or far right. Like
yeah, yeah.
too hard or too easy. Like I said, I'm an optimist. Like why can't we come to the middle? But I know politics don't work like that, and that's why a lot of things get tied up in Senate or in Congress before it ever gets passed. Because a lot of people are like that. They either want balance or they want their way or the highway. And so having somebody too easy to fire is just as bad as having someone that's too hard to fire. So
All right,
either way,
so this is what we're gonna do. That one right there is a juicy topic. We gonna put a pin in that one, and that's definitely gonna be a topic we're probably gonna really deep dive into in May.
okay.
And the reason why I say is because that's like that's a whole nother. This is after we break down and create like whatever we need to create. You know what I'm saying? Because I really want to talk about that. When I know when someone's too easy to fire, I feel like you're always nervous. You can't focus on the job, and
It
after a
might
while you're
actually
looking
make
for
you
new
better at the
employment.
job, though. It might
You say
actually
what?
it might actually make people better at the job. If people are as incompetent as this paragraph would like us to believe they're as incompetent, so if you know that, hey, we just passed a bill that we can fire anybody for any reason, they'll keep you on your P's and Q's. They'll make sure that you actually are doing what you're supposed to be doing, so you don't end up like that lady crying about she lost her federal government job and she thought she wasn't gonna be the one fired, even though she had A1
Is you talking about the lady who voted for Trump?
yeah.
Oh man, she should have known that. He was saying it was gonna downsize the fat. She just
Yeah,
didn't realize she was part of the fat.
yeah. So I feel like it could do the opposite effect. It could keep people more honest. It keep people more hardworking, because if you know you get fired any day tomorrow, like you gonna make sure you cover all your bases. This is like a criminal who think he gonna get caught tomorrow. He gonna
I
make
feel
sure he
like
do
this will be a great conversation for entrepreneurs. I mean, because the thing is, like, normally, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I was little, they say if you want to keep a job, you get a government job. You know,
Yeah, but
and
you
the
you
reason why
you
they say that is because the government in theory is always going to be there, and you might not get paid great, but have great benefits.
But
Versus
honestly,
if you got to,
if you look at history though, government jobs haven't been like that as secure since the 70s.
mm,
So like a lot of people who had this mindset, which be your parents, that were born in the 50s or 60s, yeah, during that time, and they try to pass it on to you, coming up in the 80s. And so we're seeing that the knowledge that we do have about how America works is passed down through the generations. And this going to a longer topic about generational wealth, but to keep it on topic, like your parents only knew what they knew. So of course they're gonna tell you, hey, get a secure job in the government, because it's always gonna be there, like you just said. But as we get through the next generation, my generation, we're like, we don't trust the
oh,
government.
no, we
But
don't
back in the
trust the
50s,
government. That's
yeah,
exactly what's going to happen because of Trump.
no, I can tell you, as long as I've lived my life. So my mama's a part of your generation, and she's even as long as I've known, she's told me not to trust the government, because she was told the same lies as or the same knowledge. I'm not gonna call them lies, because your parents only know what they know. She was told the same knowledge from her parent, my grandma, about government jobs. And so when my mom turned 18, she got a government job. She worked that until she was 20, and then realized it's not all what it is, and that really a government job isn't as stable as they made it believe. Yeah, my great grandma, she worked for the government for 45 years until, and she retired from them.
Yeah.
And she passed it on to my grandma, and grandma tried to pass it on to my mom, but governments change, policies change, security change. And so
Well, I mean, also it all depends on who you are.
that too. I mean, I'm not saying that's a truth or a lie, but I think it's more about whether it's who you are, what skin color, what ethnicity. It's about how we are changing as a society. Things that were acceptable back then are not acceptable now. So things that are the norm then is not the norm now. So we cannot use ancient history as to tell our future right now, or tell what we should do right now.
Well, I
Because
tell you this: if you don't know history, it will repeat itself.
oh,
And
of course,
thinking you're
I wasn't.
above them old folk.
I use ancient history just to refer back to old knowledge.
Yeah,
Not
but what
saying
I'm
that
saying
we.
is the fact that recent history means something more than ancient history.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the turn of the economy, the turn of the political swing, everything is important now. So yes, our great grandmas, our grandmas, or even our parents might have believed a certain thing about how the world works, but the world is forever changing. So if we use past knowledge to move forward, we will always be stuck in the past. And then when
Well,
stuff
I
doesn't
mean,
work,
I guess what I'm saying is ignoring the history means that there's going to be a lot more super villains in real, because the thing is there are people in history that's killed millions of other individuals,
well, I'm not advocating.
millions.
I'm not
You
advocating
just
for
don't hear
ignoring
about
here.
them, and we
I'm
don't
not.
think about like the Belgian hero chopping off millions of black African hands and killing them.
I'm not advocating to ignore history. I'm just talking about knowledge based on financial situations. We should not be using like it's like somebody telling us that we need to bust open Microsoft Word and
Okay, I get what you're saying. You're saying
top up
if making a
documents.
living, you should not base it on the old stuff. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
because
kind of like the stagecoach drivers. No one's trying to drive a stagecoach no more. That's old
Ex-
stuff.
yeah, exactly. So when we're talking about a financial thing and a job security, we should not be basing on what the government was doing back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and
Well,
sometimes 80s.
can
Because since then,
I ask
for
you one
the
question?
what?
If all of the job losses are occurring because of one man, and individuals who did have that job, or individuals that could have had that job, or individuals that feel that it may go to the private sector, wouldn't it just be smarter to try to make a difference out of that one person making all these changes versus to just say, well,
That's only if you had your eyes closed. If you really believe one person is making all these changes, especially when we're talking about
oh
federal
yeah, one
employment
person
is
is.
federal employment has been on
We
the
can all
decline.
line this up to Trump right now because
No,
without
we
Trump,
cannot. Well, no, we cannot. Federal employment been on a decline. Like, for instance, right? If you or even your mother, was still alive today, and she was on her government job, if everybody believed that a government job is holds security, there's only a limited amount of jobs. And so if everybody's holding those jobs because they know that security, the next generation has limited amount of jobs. And then the further generation, because I know grandmas that's still working at the post office, and young 20-some-year-olds can't even get a job at the post office. So if we're talking about job security and we're talking about, oh, you need to get a federal job, well, there ain't no federal jobs. And so now we're talking about desizing the government to eliminate waste, and everybody's looking like, well, that's supposed to be security. That was only security for y'all. It wasn't security for the next generation, and it wasn't secure for the following generation. The working generation keeps moving, and these people are still alive. They're still holding a job. That's why we still have 8-year-olds in Congress to this day, and those seats are always going to be filled because there's no term limit on congressmen or
yeah,
senators.
they die in those positions.
And so it's the same thing with any federal government
But
workers.
yeah, some of them need to stay just because they trying to make sure them alligators don't really eat us.
Yeah, but
Let's go ahead.
but this goes to my point that you can't look at it from your perspective only and say, "Oh, federal jobs." I was always told federal jobs is security. That's never been the case for my generation
Well,
because
I'm
there's
not
no
here
jobs.
saying I like I guess what I'm saying is like if let's say somebody wanted to spend 10 years in the service, they can take them 10 years and apply that towards a Fed job, and then they can spend 10 years at their Fed job and then retire. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah, it
then
sounds
have
good. It
the
sounds
supreme
good.
benefits, and then they can go in whatever direction they want to go in and have like 3 different checks coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that is what I said. It sounds good,
but
and that
yeah, but the thing
that
is, depending on the position that you want in the government, that right there determines, because if you're not the person making $65,000 or more, you should not have that much stress. I feel like the stress limit of today's money, you need to at least get paid $65,000. And depending on how much stress, it really needs to be 90,000. And I just say that because there's so many other ways you can get paid for less stress for under 50. You know what I mean? Like if
oh,
you
most
make it
definitely.
under 65,000, when you leave your building, you should not stress out about your email. But if you making 60 or whatever more, you get an email, you need to react to that email. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that doesn't take away from my, the point that
Oh no, I'm not taking away
no,
your point.
like
I'm
so
not
with this
disagreeing.
so back to Project 2025, it was talking this plot was this paragraph is basically telling us that they're trying to make it easier to downsize the federal government, which is the plan that they've been enacting since 2025 has started. And you're talking about, hey, well, what happened to the security and federal jobs? And I'm giving you the perspective, hey, there has never been security and federal jobs for this generation. Yes, you might have been told a federal job in your generation was secure because that's what your mom or your grandma did. But
Well,
as this
what
time
I'm
goes
saying
by,
is I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. And the only reason I'm disagreeing is because you are not square enough to get that job, and I'm not square enough to get that job. But there are people who are square enough to do the boring job that's not going to pay them that much money.
what are you talking about? We was in the military. That's a
No, no,
federal
no, no,
job.
no, no. I mean really square, like really, really square. You know, squared up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but a
You
federal
know what
job
I
is a
mean.
federal.
So what I mean is, it's a boring job, huh?
A federal job is a federal job. It doesn't matter
But
if you
it's
work at the
normally
post.
paperwork, and it's normally boring. Is a lot of it. I guess what I'm saying is so much work that to be done in the federal government, to cleaning, to being the person at the tourist places, to be part of the road crew. There's so much work outside of being in a government building. When I think about Fed workers, I'm thinking about people who just work in the streets too. I'm not just thinking about people in the buildings. Right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I thought that's what we was talking about. I was never and visualizing people working in the federal building and the ones that push paper. I was talking about your neighborhood people, the people you see every day working for the federal government. That's who I
Yeah.
was talking
And so
about.
what I'm saying is there's like a bunch of different jobs versus like if you go into a company, there's not that much work for the amount of work that like a city like Dallas will have. Like Dallas will have the need for a crazy amount of employees, but a trucking company that has like 5 trucks really only requires at most 10 to 11 employees. You know what I'm saying? And that's really a stretch. And I'm just saying the most. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I guess what I'm saying is um there's a lot of work to be done, and some of this work is like you really can't mess up cutting grass, bro.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
we're just
unless you
talking
just
about
a
because
mess up.
I'm bringing it back to Project 2045 and what this paragraph was talking about is talking about federal employees. And yes,
I
there's a
get you,
lot of
but what I'm saying, they also what I guess what I'm getting at is like if somebody can do like the locksmiths got fired. Are you aware of that?
the locksmiths that work for the federal government.
Yeah, the locksmiths that work for the federal governments that's supposed to be managing the national parks. They basically got fired, and it was a crazy fiasco where they didn't realize that the locksmith helps out with different locks and keys, and the locks actually need to be maintained, and after a while, if they don't, then it's not going to
Why
work.
can't we?
There's a lot of
But
extra stuff in that.
okay, so why would I employ a federal worker to maintain locks and maintain keys and stuff like that on a 365 day basis when it probably only need to be done maybe 2 weeks out of the whole year combined?
Well, the thing is, you
That's
need
waste of
somebody
money.
who has that expertise in the lay of the land, because that job, being in those kind of atmosphere. Have you been to the? I mean, I don't know if
I've
you've
been
been
to
to the Grand
national parks.
Canyon.
Yeah, they can be really big sometimes. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the Grand Canyon. You aware the
But
Grand
what
Canyon is
but
like.
what does a locksmith know that you can't teach to a park ranger?
So what I'm saying is, I'm just talking about a real job that happened that got fired. I'm not talking
That
hypothetical.
doesn't even seem. But I'm making my point. That does. I can understand why they got fired because that doesn't even seem like a real job to me. Because what do a locksmith do that a park ranger cannot be taught to do? If a park ranger know the lay of the land, they know all the locks is. They know how to replace the locks because it's nothing to replace a lock, and they know how to maintain a key. If you lose a
It
key,
sounds like if you were part of the Doge group, you would have made the same mistake too.
what does a locksmith do that a park ranger? Because a lot of parks, national parks got park rangers. They got plenty of them, like plenty of them. So what can a locksmith do that a park ranger cannot be taught? If we're trying to save money, what can a locksmith do that a park ranger cannot be taught? There's absolutely nothing. You cannot
All right,
convince me.
so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a note on that: firing of the locksmith in the national park versus hiring a park ranger to do
No,
the
no, no,
job.
no. We're not hiring park rangers. Every national park has a park ranger. That is a
Well, you're
fact.
basically adding more work to the park rangers,
And
and not
park
every
rangers
park
and
ranger
park
is a
rangers,
locksmith
they
or want to
maintain
live out there.
park rangers maintain safety. Park ranger maintains borders. Park rangers might even maintain wildlife. They can add something else to their list because I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10 they go to work and they just hit on their little golf cart and buggies and circle the place until something happens.
I
So
mean,
again,
granted, that'll be the dream. I guess what I'm saying though is, um, when you're looking at, like, they made, like, I'm just gonna say they made a mistake and they fired somebody kind of like that, and then it was like a big old fiasco. We're gonna come back and revisit that. Let's
hey,
go ahead and
yeah,
talk about.
this be a perfect time to take a pause real quick. So when we come back, we'll get into the next bulletin point.
Okay, cool. Hey, so let's go ahead and hold on one second. So it says the OPM merit hiring in a merit system. It should not be impossible even for a large national government to hire good people through merit selection. The government did so for years, but has proven difficult to in recent times to select personnel based on their knowledge, skills, and abilities as the law dictates. Yet, for the past 34 years, the U.S. Civil Service has been unable to distinguish consistently between strong and unqualified applicants for employment. So, I think we kind of got the gist of what they're talking about. So let's go ahead and take a 30-minute break, and we'll come back. All right. Hey, what's going on? You here with Email and Thomas?
Yeah, what's
Uh,
up?
yeah. So we were coming back from our break. So when it come down to the civil rights, I believe we've went over that. Let's go ahead and go to the second way that they're going to try to let's get back to, what is it? Enable discrimination across society. So now we're going to the second bullet point they have. So
They're
the
talking about
second bullet point.
discrimination against Medicaid and stuff. I'm pretty sure um, we talked about this earlier on in the series, but we're probably gonna get a little bit more context on what they plan to do with the Medicaid.
Okay. So it says how they'll do it. make it harder for historically under-resourced communities to access Medicaid, Head Start, and other government programs. Population counts can be essential to groups receiving a portion or proportions in resources from the federal government, like Medicaid, Head Start, community mental health programs, and much more. So, Project 2025 plans to undercount or undermine the accuracy of these counts would hurt communities that have been economically marginalized. So it says the special interest behind Project 2025 want to reverse the long-standing body of work by civil rights activists who have encouraged the federal government to collect more sophisticated data when it comes to racial and ethnic groups, which has helped ensure communities that have been historically under-resourced because of their racial demographics receive proper allocations of resources. As recently as March 2024, the Biden administration issued a revision to Statistical Directive number 15, which governs standards for maintaining, collecting, and presenting federal data on race and ethnicity. The revision is for more accurate and useful race and ethnic data collection across various agencies of the U.S. federal government. In their own words, review forthcoming changes to race and ethnical questions. The current administration has announced its intent to change data collection methods regarding race and ethnicity by combining the two questions on the Decennial questionnaire in increasing the number of available options. In a new conservative administration should take control of this process and thoroughly review any changes. Mandate for leadership 680.
I call bullshit. I'm
What you
not.
mean?
I'm not gonna lie. So, based on what this pamphlet said, and yes, this is in their own words, quote unquote, but based on what this pamphlet said, is leading you to believe that they're going to basically did not count and under a fund certain communities, obviously minority communities, when it comes to these federal programs. But I don't believe that's true, because if pattern is recognition would show everything that they're going to say, like even before we get into the mandate, it's going to show that they're going to say something along the lines that we just need to advise or revise the way that we are counting people that's eligible for these programs. We're going to look at based on these communities, amount of people who are actually doing fraud, but they're going to subject it as if, hey, they're doing this to minority communities, when in actuality, uh, whites are the a majority that's on Medicare or government assistance welfare. So if they're looking at different groups of ethnicities and who are committing fraud to eliminate waste, is going to show that they're going to change how they're going to do the acceptance process. It's going to look like, hey, these minorities going to get less money based on what they check on these boxes. No, it's just going to give people a census on who is checking these boxes, what community they come from, and what community that we really got to get a control over, which would be, in my opinion, the whites, because they're the ones that take the most advantage. Like, there'd be millionaires on government assistance just because the $1 million is in a trust fund and not as taxable income. So
Loopholes.
exactly. So if they want to get rid of fraud and waste, they're gonna start by taking census of everyone who's a part of a program, and then making changes on how, I mean, changing the rules on how they're gonna go about these programs. But we haven't gotten into the whole mandate yet. But more than likely that's what they're gonna say.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the Census Bureau. So the Census Bureau's core mission is to execute the executive branch's constitutional mandate to conduct a census every 10 years. but its activities have steadily grown and shifted to include the economic census, American Communities Survey, and further functions outside of its core mission. An incoming conservative administration should focus on three areas: day-to-day management, the decennial census.
Hey, Williams, the presentation is frozen because I don't know where you're reading it.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't update the thank you for telling me, because I thought you were with me on this one. So thank you. So I'm continuing where I was at. I'm a
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
All right. Each of these will need to be addressed at every stage of the transition and policy implementation process, and will require that both committed political appointees and like-minded career employees are immediately put in places to execute a conservative agenda. These will need to be placed both in the Census Bureau and in key department level managerial positions, such as those in the CFO ASA's office. All right. So this is how they plan on doing this agenda on the day-to-day. Command and control. Strong political leadership is needed to increase efficiency and align the Census Bureau's mission and conservative principles. Personnel is key to ensuring that a new administration can guide preparations for the 2030 census and oversee the continued operation of the Bureau's many surveys. To move bureaucracy on key priorities, appointed staff should be in place at the Bureau as early as feasible after a new president takes office. This will require the Office of Personnel Management to allocate additional political appointees positions to the Census Bureau. So that's kind of sound like that replacing for loyalists, right?
Nah, that's not what I got. But
You
I
ain't get
mean,
that?
it sounds like they're just redefining management positions. Hey, we have these people who've been half-assing their jobs. We need to get somebody who will be more strict on how we manage these people.
So it says strong political leadership needed is to increase efficiency, align the Census Bureau's mission with the conservative principles. So it says move the bureaucracy to keep priorities appointed to staff and as place as feasibly after a new president takes office.
Change
So
management
what this
with
means is they're trying to replace everyone who is the staff they're talking about as soon as possible. So he had a meeting earlier today with a known racist lady who essentially had him fire 6 people who were in high level positions just today, April 4th, 2025.
conservative. Well, I like how you highlighted with a known racist. When let's be honest, a lot of people are known racist, and it's not the fact that the lady is racist. When we're talking about firing people, and they're talking about replacing them with conservative people, conservative doesn't mean a Trump supporter. That don't mean good old
Well,
boys
that's what
or
they're trying to
followers. That
say.
means people who are conserved in their opinions, who are conserved in their giving for
You
money.
think that the conservative parties, I mean, you think the Republican Party is the same Republican Party was 20 years ago?
Do you think the Democrat Party is the same Democrat Party that was 20 years ago? We can make the same
I
argument.
feel like it's more closely aligned.
I really don't, because if we look back in history on how Democrats were really the racists and Republicans were the actual ones that
Well,
were
you're talking
supporting
about
minorities.
1800s, and then
We're
it
not talking about
changed like
1800s. We're talking
1930s,
about
1940s.
1970s. We're
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
1970s. That was like 10, 15 years before you was born. We're not talking that far off in the past. They always talking about the switch. oh, the Democratic Party switched from being racist to looking
I
out for
guess what I'm
minorities.
saying is I'm actually talking about what happened today, and
Yeah, and I'm talking about what happened today too, and I'm talking about
so you
being
watched it, so you know what I'm
having a
referring to.
saying the word conservative always triggers people into thinking right wing. People always thinking about Trump supporters, good old boys or whatever. Conservatives do not mean racism. Conservative do not. That means you are conserved in
Well, what
whatever
I'm
your
saying
opinions
is,
are.
if we're talking about conservatives, like the Republican Party is not conservatives, not these Republicans. So it's like when you say conservative, that's not the same thing, man. It's different.
Why do you? But okay, so why do you believe that the Republicans are not conservatives? What are they so left wing about, or liberal about, or easygoing about? Because conserve means the opposite of easygoing. So what are they easygoing
Well,
about?
conservative to me means that they try to conserve a certain lifestyle, like preserve.
Conserve
Like
is
they're
the
not
word
trying to.
conserve just means to keep a certain whatever it is. I'm conserved about my spending habits. I'm conservative about my opinion. That means I'm withholding my money. I'm withholding my opinion. That is what it means to maintain a certain, like you said, a certain lifestyle. So what it doesn't necessarily mean a culture or tradition, or it just means whatever we're talking about being conservative about. Right now, we're talking about putting people in place for government resources. So if you want people to be more conservative or when spending government resources, we're putting people who are less likely to spend money or give money out so freely.
All right, let's. I'm gonna show you this real quick.
We want to talk about all of this with our friend there at the Washington Examiner who covers the White House each and every day, reporter Christian Daytok. He joins me. Christian, good to see you here. It's somewhat difficult to know where to start. Let's start with this. The fact that going into yesterday, the Trump administration essentially was saying none of this was open for negotiation, meaning that
I'm
some
gonna
of these
try to
countries, if they
jump
wanted to
to. Oh
go
yeah,
to the
they're
Trump
talking about the
administration
tariffs
into the United States.
So these are the tariffs, the new tariffs. You seen the new tariffs?
Yeah, I definitely looked over that chart. So basically, the reason why the chart looks like this and why people's numbers are different, or whatever. So basically, it's just to avoid the tariff deficit. So basically, if let's say Japan, they tariff us at 100%. Anything we export to Japan is tariff at 100%. So it's damn near double in Japan, right? And then anything that comes from Japan is tariffed at 40%. So that's a 60% trade deficit. So when we're looking to tariff Japan, we're gonna tariff them at 60%. So all their imports goods are at 60%, and all of ours are they go over there or whatever. It's just to equal it out. It's equilibrium. That's all it is. It's to make both equations equal out. If I'm exporting 100% and have 100% tariff on coming in, and you only have a 40% tariff coming in, then I'm adding 60% tariff on you. Boom. So now anything that wants to come in, it's at 100%, just like we are at 100% exporting. It's to keep an equilibrium. It's not to bully anybody. It's not to make a tariff war. It's just to keep everything fair.
Okay, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the channel's playlist. Anybody and everyone can go to this playlist. I highly recommend going to the playlist because generally what happens with the playlist, anything that's crucial that's happening through the month, I make it a point to put it in this, so that way it makes it
U.S.
easier.
stocks are tumbling.
So yeah. I don't know where it went, man. I just know like they were talking about it. I guess I didn't save it.
Why aren't we just on a video that's talking about the firing of the people?
Because it happened today, and
That's the
it's
video we
like
were just watching.
Well, I mean, I looked at
So
it
listen
and it
up.
didn't
State
sound like he was
Farm
going to talk
was
about
trying
it.
to
You know what
charge
I
me
mean? And I ain't want to be
$197 for
sitting over
cards.
here trying to
No,
listen to
thank
talk
you.
about the
We
trade
want to talk
stuff.
about all of this.
And I didn't see no pictures
but your
that looked
taxes,
like they were
leading
talking
to
about it. You know what I mean?
field was
All right, then that's something that we just got to put a pin in. We'll talk about it on another day. Let's get back to this mandate.
All right, hold on. Since I'm looking at it one last time. Yeah. I don't know why they be doing that, man. They be like with the titles.
Oh, because it's clickbait. It's called clickbait for a reason. They want you to be, oh my God, and just watch whatever they put out.
Yeah, and it don't even be
What
what you
they're
look.
talking. Yep, and not what you look for, not what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I like you say, we'll come back to that, man. You know, let's get back to the mandate though, because that's what we're really here for. So, like you say. All right. So the day-to-day management. All right. It says okay, we already went over that. Financial management, information technology, and human resources. The new administration must immediately conduct a review to identify ways to better control costs and reverse recent failures of investments intended to upgrade the financial management, information technology, and human resource systems of the Census Bureau. So,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, it sounds like they're trying to get it up to date. But then all I'm saying is when you start putting them AI bots in there and you start putting like, because my thing is
Okay.
when you think about someone like Elon Musk, do you not think that he's compromised? I'm asking you.
No, I don't want. I don't want to speak on that. I just want to speak on the fact that not everything has to go through AI. So when they say update the systems, you already know at back when you were in the military that their computers 20, 15 years old. Just updating it was just getting it up to date. That's
Well,
not saying
I'm really
upgrading all the way
mentioning
to
the
AI.
AI because Elon Musk is involved. That's the only reason I mention it.
Everybody's involved in AI at this point, and
Yeah, but it's
and
like
we
to
you
a
want
whole nother
you.
level.
No. You talking about Elon Musk, but I
Oh,
remember
his
Mark
resources. That's
Zuckerberg.
scary.
I remember Mark Zuckerberg.
He's planning on getting our social security information.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm
What I'm
saying
saying is
no.
he's
You're not
already got
understanding.
all.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. You're talking about AI, and then you want to reference Elon Musk. But I'm going to let you know that Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff
They all
Bezos,
got it. You're right.
all of them are in AI, and they
Yeah,
all are backing Trump at the same time. So it's
yeah. I
not
do
just one
understand
of
that.
them.
But what I'm saying is, it's like putting a virus in the computer. I'm just saying, like, that's really what I'm saying. Like a self-replicating virus,
That is
infiltrating.
assuming that they upgrade when they say upgrade the system that they're going to AI, and then you could
So
be like,
you
well, of course
trust
they're going
Elon
to go.
Musk?
You're saying, of course they're going to go to AI because Elon Musk is partnered with Donald Trump right now. But
He
again,
also has this AI system called Grog that he's working on.
again, we had 10 to 15-year-old computers in the military that they said they just bought for a couple
Do
thousand
you trust
dollars.
Elon Musk?
No, you're missing my point. You're
You're
missing
missing
my
my
point.
point. You be different. You make it sound like he's
No,
trustworthy.
no. You're missing my point. I'm talking about logic. You're basing off emotions. I'm forgetting Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not in my equation right now. I'm talking about what I've seen in my federal employment of the United States military.
So you
They
got to
had
see it
10,
in order for it to happen.
they had 10 to 15-year-old computers that they said they just bought for a couple $1,000s. And so we already know that the government get charged an exorbitant amount for old equipment. So
That's
if they're
DOD.
saying they're gonna wait,
You
I'm not
talking
done
about the
talking. I'm
budget
not done talking. I'm
DOD
not
that
done
we could
talking.
be saving
Don't
money
let me
off
finish
of.
my point. Let me finish my point. So if they're saying that they're gonna upgrade the system and you're jumping all the way to AI, shoot, if they're gonna go 15 years in the future with their basic computers first before they even talk about some damn AI, and that's gonna cost trillions of dollars just because of how much they get charged for equipment in federal level. And that's just the truth. If it happens on the military level, what has the most budget out of the whole GDP, then that happens on every federal level. So if they're getting charged so much for old equipment and they're talking about upgrading and you talking about AI, they're already about 15 years in the past. So they
Sir,
gotta
all I'm
jump
saying
15.
is them putting a bug in the system and always being able to keep tabs on our government and our numbers and our PII. That's all I'm saying.
That's a theory. That's
what I'm saying is that's too big of a chance and it's too easy to
it's
happen.
not too. So
It's
that's why I
not
say
worth
it's not. That's not.
done.
And you missed my point, because if you said that's too big of a chance, you would know that's not even a chance. Because if you heard what I was saying, then you would
You
understand.
just said updated to regular computers, and
Yeah,
that's all
but
they're
you
gonna do.
understand the cost. I was trying to emphasize on the cost. If we working with 10-year-old to 15-year-old computers for thousands of
Look,
dollars, that's how much they sell it to the
updating and
federal
upgrading
government.
is great.
You want to take
No
it
one's
all the way
arguing
to a
that.
computer
I'm
that can
not
operate
arguing
AI?
that needs to happen anyway. Even
Yeah,
if
but
they didn't
for
come
us
up
to
with this
jump,
mandate, that needs to happen.
if we were to jump from 15 years in the past all the way to 2025 in equipment just so we can run AI, that will cost trillions of dollars. So
What I'm
you're talking
saying,
about
what I'm
it's too
saying
big of a
is,
risk. The risk is
and
not
when
there
you
because
deal
the
with
money is not
people with
there.
that kind of money and who don't care about the system, you don't take chances.
Yeah, but Elon Musk money,
take chances.
Elon Musk money is not the federal budget. And if their whole agenda is to lower the federal debt, they cannot go and re-implement something that's going to be a substantial cost to the federal budget just so Elon Musk can run his
It's not
virus.
just him, it's all of the brogarchy. It's all the greedy, all the rich people. And look,
the rich people
it's a
money
lot of stuff
is
I'm not
not the
arguing with
government's
you about,
money.
is because I agree with you. It's like the updating of the machines. Yes, they need to upgrade them. Yes.
Yes,
So
no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Yes, they do need to upgrade them, but that's not the point. The cost of the upgrade is my point. If the cost, because they sold old computers for thousands of dollars, and if you want to upgrade it to the modern technology, it's going to cost even more money to upgrade. And if their whole agenda is to cut federal waste, they cannot justify the cost of upgrading their old computers to new computers just so Elon Musk or the whole oligarchy can upload virus and keeps tabs on it. It's not going to happen, because then they can't justify it to the public. Hey, we just spent a couple trillions of dollars upgrading computers. Why you spend that much money upgrading computers? So we could be up to date. That wouldn't make any sense. So for them to make that leap is going to cost too much money that they cannot justify. That's why I'm saying that we don't have to worry about your hypothetical, theoretical.
Well, what I'm
take.
saying is, it's like, if you know that someone's a gold digger, why would you even try to even date her? If you know that someone's a thief, why would you even open your wallet to show them how much money you got? That makes no sense. And what I'm saying is, if you think that Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all the other rich mother lovers out there care about us and would not,
I'm not saying
you make it seem like they're not compromised.
I'm not saying that they care about us, but I understand.
They don't, so they don't care about us.
I understand how politics work.
I
If they
guess what
want
I'm
to
getting
fail,
at
if they
is
want to do
they're
something,
gonna do the best they can to use whatever information they can. That's it. It's called what you call it, capitalism.
you're missing the point. We're talking about what they just said in this paragraph, upgrading the systems. So it can be,
we need to upgrade them.
Yes, no. But you're talking about, we're gonna upgrade it, and then Elon Musk is gonna put his virus
drop
in.
the AI stuff then. If AI is that big of a deal to you, drop the concept of AI and just think about the concept that this information system that they're talking about. Okay, all right, whatever, man. Let's go to the next thing. And I just say it like that because to me, when you have somebody like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and all these people who come from California and they are so technologically in there, you give them an inch, they're gonna be able to know your mother's blood type.
Yeah, but you gotta remember the objective of reading the mandate. The objective,
I'm not worried about
the objective of
just
us reading the
mandate
mandate is to understand what is being put in the mandate. And then yes, we give our own comments and we might make up our own hypotheticals, but our job here right now is not to go all the way on the deep end on all what maybe possibly could happen because this person is this person and they have these characteristics. That's not what we're here for. We're here to
Well, I'm
understand
gonna
the
tell you like
mandate,
this.
what they're trying to put out, and yes, we
I'm
can give
putting
our
my spin on
comments.
it and what I've been seeing in the news, and I'm staying in the news. So because I'm standing in the news, I'm standing on these people's neck. So I'm saying this
The
because I
news ain't
know that he got
always
grog.
the
He has
news
AI
isn't.
grog. Do you know he has AI grog that he's working on? Yes or no?
No, I'm saying the news is not always your friend. It's
It
like
might
saying,
not.
"Oh,
Okay.
it's like you saying I did a research paper and I only use Wikipedia." Wikipedia do got good information, but doesn't mean everything put on Wikipedia is the truth now. And so, if you make your whole research paper off of Wikipedia, you're just gonna get a failing grade in college because they're gonna be like, "Where's actual sources?" Not what you just seen on Wikipedia, because anybody can say anything on
Well,
Wikipedia, just like
what I'm
anybody can
saying
say
is
anything
I'm
on the news.
seeing credible news sources like
What is
Rachel
credible?
Maddow
Because
and a
Fox ain't
bunch of
credible.
other people who's
Credible,
in. Okay.
Fox has
Let me know
been
when I can
proven
talk
discredible.
because I
CNN been
okay.
proven discredible. What?
I hear what you're saying. Let me know when I can talk because I don't want to talk over you.
All right, go ahead. I'm just saying that I'm asking you what is the credible news sources, because these news sources, you just brought up a Fox post. Even though that's not the video you wanted to show us, you still put up a Fox a video, and it's like Fox isn't that credible.
So what I'm saying is there's enough people who are in the know saying the same exact thing about Grog, the AI technology that he's putting in. And also, it's a lot of people talking about the fact he's trying to come up with his own currency, his own crypto again. And he's getting rid of the financial institutes as far as the guards, like the FCC. They're getting rid of those, so there's no one to guard them. And what I'm saying is that might not be alarming to you, but to
No.
me, that's alarming when you do that, because if someone commits identity theft, we no longer have, if their plan was successful, we would not have the CFBO or whatever it's called, the Credit Fraud Bureau, the
Okay,
CFBA.
I'm gonna make 2 points real quick, and then we're gonna move on. But to touch on you saying if enough people are saying it, basically it must be true, which
I'm
is
not
not
saying it
always.
must be true, but I'm just saying that there must be something with it. And I don't like, come
Oh,
on, man.
if
He's a
okay, if I
Tesla.
see
Like,
five,
if
if
he
I
can do
see
Tesla and he can do SpaceX and he has all of this stuff that he's invested in, you think that he, like, what?
okay. This is again, just because enough news sources are saying the same thing doesn't mean it's anything credible, because they can all be backed by the same corporation, same money that is funding this, is funding all
So,
of them. So they're
what
pushing
I'm
out their
saying,
whole
so you
agenda.
make it sound like this not a credible threat when
No,
someone
I'm just
has
saying keep
like
your
dang near $1
mind
trillion.
open. I'm saying keep your mind open. Don't
I
just
am
because.
keeping my mind open,
No,
but at the
it
same
doesn't
time,
really
I
seem
don't.
it doesn't
Okay.
really seem like you keeping your mind open. It seems like,
So
hey,
what I'm
I
saying
seen
is,
this on multiple different posts, posts, and they all saying the same thing. You know how algorithm work? If an algorithm know you like a certain thing, they're gonna keep feeding you the same type of rhetoric. Doesn't matter where it comes from, because that's how algorithm work. It's targeted towards you,
you're
and so
so
you.
stuck on just standing on
No,
whatever
no, but
hill,
that's not
and you just keep standing
that's only
on these BS hills, bro.
no, but that's
I
only
get
one of
what
my
you're
points.
saying. I
No,
get
no,
what
that's
you're
only
saying about the
you
algorithm
can't.
showing me this and everything like that. But all I'm saying is the fact that if I don't trust somebody because I've seen them in action, and the panda bear with the Swiss cheese hat, and I'm supposed to be open-minded about my social security
Okay,
numbers, and
and then my second, that's about to lead to my second point. You're talking just like the folks was talking when we moved from the gold standard to the oil standard, or when we moved from the oil standard to the fiat money we do have now, or when we moved from
you
cash.
know
And
everything.
no, wait, I'm not done. When we moved from cash and when we went to debit cards, it was the same principle. You talking about, oh, Elon Musk developing his own cryptocurrency. I can develop my own cryptocurrency right now. It doesn't matter. It's a cryptocurrency. It's just a different form of. There's like millions of different
So
crypto
what
coins.
I'm
Oh
saying is,
no.
if he's coming up with his own currency, and that means that he don't mind effing the USD. He has so many
what about all the
conflicts of
other
interest.
companies? What about Bitcoin,
So
Ethereum,
what about
XRP?
them selling Tesla on the White House grounds?
No, we're not gonna move from one point to another point. I'm
But
telling
what I'm
you,
saying is the fact that
he
you
said
talk about
after
people are
USD,
corrupt, and
you
then you
saying he
talk
making
about
it.
he putting his AI and his stuff, and not his AI, but his technology. He's putting his money. He's going to put $25 million towards these campaigns. You know what I'm saying? So we want to put $25 million in campaigns. Who knows how much money he's willing to put in to really, you know what I'm saying, to make his mark.
If you really understood or really just check my politician's campaign budget, you will see how much each corporation donate to them, and then you will understand that $25 million a drop in the bucket. I'm not gonna get mad at him because he's doing what every other politician doing. It's just highlighted because he is who he is, and they know that hey, this is gonna move traction in the news to let to expose that Elon Musk is doing this. But ain't nobody exposing BlackRock, Vanguard, ain't nobody exposing Cigna.
So what I'm saying is,
Ain't nobody
everything you
exposing all these
saying
other corporations
is
that
valid.
put millions.
I don't trust him. I never will. That's gonna be my point.
Nobody
Now,
is
the
saying
only
not
thing
to.
we can do on this one is agree to disagree, and for you to understand that because my strong distrust of Elon Musk and the fact that he has so much resources and the fact that he has all the other billionaires trying to become trillionaires, I'm not giving no benefits of the doubt.
Who told you they're trying to become trillionaires? The news?
No,
Did they say out their mouth? Did they say out their own mouth, I'm trying to become a trillionaire?
Their actions.
Who told you what they actually were doing? Because last time I checked, neither one of us have a degree in economics.
So what I'm saying is, by him buying all the elections, no one needs a degree in economics to
Everybody does that.
What he's trying to do is he try to buy a Supreme Court.
If you looked at Kamala's campaign resources, she got $400 million from her alma
president.
No, but it doesn't matter. You're talking about buying elections. One person gave Kamala Harris $400 million for her campaign. You're talking about buying elections. Bro, everybody spends money on elections. Everybody spends money on campaigns. You can't not use something that everybody does as a justification as why you are antagonizing this one person or you villainizing this one person.
Why are you protecting this Elon Musk?
I'm not protecting. I'm calling out your bias. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, I'm biased because I'm scared. I'm fucking scared, bro. I'm fucking scared. Yes, I'm fucking scared.
But you are not,
and that's why. And on me, I know for a fact that Elon Musk and Donald Trump spies on me, bro. Yes.
Obama started spying on us before.
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, if you know that this person is a fascist type of mind state doing this on TV, on live TV, doing this, that shit don't scare you?
No, because just because he did it on TV doesn't mean many of people not doing it behind closed doors. They all gonna do it, bro. That's why I'm telling you, focusing on distractions instead of actually looking at the facts. You're letting the media control your thought process instead of looking at, okay, yes, he might be doing that. He might be a fascist. You might be right. Everything you say. That doesn't mean that 50% of the other politicians ain't doing the same thing. I mean, they ain't all in the same group doing the same thing.
Hey,
at the end of the day, you're making it left versus right when it's us versus them. You're making it left versus right when it's us versus them.
What I'm saying is, it is a left versus right because I'm siding with Kamala all day.
No, it's us versus them. You're not friends with Kamala. You're not friends with her. You do not know her as a person.
I don't care. I know one thing is the fact that she would have kept our economy floating.
Yes,
I know one thing she wouldn't have just dismantled and tried to destroy and gut a bunch of jobs just because.
She would have kept our economy going by pushing the debt ceiling up and by getting us more in debt. Yes, she definitely would have done it. It has been projected that her tax plan even agreed that it would added like something like $30 trillion in the next 10 years just based on what she was trying to do in the next 4. Yes, she would have definitely kept the economy going by pushing the can down the road, but that would never solve our problems. She's giving band-aid solutions to long-term problems, and that is never going to work. But again, neither one of us know any of these people. We are just getting
what I'm saying is the fact that I have enough time dealing with them and seeing the results. Yes, we know enough. We've seen them every day. We watch them on the news. We see how they act. I might not know them personally, but I see the way
everybody.
See the way they operate.
So how do you know? So how do you know that when Elon Musk, as rich as he is, as famous as he is, on a platform, on a stage, did that salute, that fascist ass salute? How do you know he wasn't just doing that to get attention, just because he know that you will be right here talking about it right now?
If he did, he succeeded, and he also was
So that's
a
why my
dog
point
whistle.
is to look at it objectively. It is us
I'm not gonna
versus
look
them.
at racism. I'm not gonna look at a racist or fascist
Objectively, you're
objective.
not gonna
I'm
look.
not. We gonna
No,
stomp
no.
that out.
I'm not telling you to. I'm not
You
telling you
are
to.
telling me to,
No. I'm just trying to get you to open your mind. I'm
bro.
trying to get you to understand
I'm
that some
willing to
stuff is
talk
done
to
on
a
purpose.
racist.
No,
I'm
some things.
willing to talk. I'm not gonna go to the cookout. I'm
I'm just
willing to
saying
debate
some of
with
the
somebody's
things
racist.
are that you're focusing on are just there just so you can talk about it. And like I
Well,
said,
you're the one who's standing on this hill, and you're not letting me.
it's not
You're not letting
because
me have a different of opinion.
you don't understand the viewpoint I'm coming from. I said
I get your viewpoint,
I
and
am
I feel like it's wrong. And I asked if we can agree to disagree, and for us to move on.
yeah, but I wanted to get the rest of my point out, but you keep interrupting me before I finish my statement, before we can end it off and move on. Like I keep getting cut off before I can even finish what I'm trying to explain.
Go ahead, explain.
Okay, so to wrap it all up, to summarize it, you're focusing on left versus right, and that's not my viewpoint. Yes, I might have a more conservative view than you do in certain topics, but that does not change that my objective is to look at us versus them. It doesn't matter if Kamala was in office or Donald Trump is in office, because at the end of the day, I always tell you, I don't trust any politicians. Everybody's out for their own objective. Everybody is gonna get something from something. So at the end of the day, I gotta see if it benefits me or the American people in that sense at the end of the day. And that's how I'm coming at this mandate. I'm not coming at it to think about the hypotheticals that, oh, what this dude is as a person and how far it can go, because that's not the point. That's a distraction. That's literally subjective, and that's hearsay at best. That is not.
If I'm watching the news and the stuff is happening in real life,
You're watching the news and then you're giving your opinion based on what you perceive. But as you've seen, as we've gone through this mandate, you can read something and I perceive it differently than you. So it is subjective to the person who's
but
viewing
you
it.
can't force me to think like you, like I can't force you to think like me, and I try not to force you to think like me.
Of course not. And I'm not.
So right now, you're forcing me to think like you, and I don't want to do that.
How am I forcing you? I'm just speaking my opinion.
You
I
basically
never
saying that
tell
we
you.
need
I
to look
never
at this.
told you. This is what you must do. I just wanted to be heard while I'm speaking my opinion. That's all.
Understand? I'm listening to every word you got and everything of that nature. I will do my best not to say you're wrong ever. At the same time, what I'm saying is this: don't force my opinion and force me to think like you think. I'm not going to do that to you. So don't do it to me. And when we talk about us looking at stuff, I'm thinking about the fact that I've seen the man already do things and fire people and the callousness of the way he's acting. So
Hey, more
I'm
people
not
about to get
risking
fired
it.
though.
And because I'm paying attention, you hear what I'm saying? This is not business like usual for me. If it was business like usual, I'd be doing other things with my life. This is too serious for me just to act like it's okay, especially when people are getting fired and people in my position, as far as if I wanted to be squared up and work for the feds, I'll be getting fired right now. I would have been one of the people chop block talking about some, oh man, I need to go find another job. And it would have been nothing wrong I would have did. So yes, I'm taking it personal, bro. I'm taking it personal.
I can definitely see that. I can definitely.
You're not taking it personal, and that's cool. But at the same time, just like I guess what I'm saying is when you talk about the fact that we know that when you leave people who are greedy with the ability to do what they want with no consequences. There's going to be no judges coming after Elon Musk or Trump. There's going to be nobody to come and give them with the you know what I'm saying? Like, that's scary, bro. You're not
No,
scared.
the reason why I'm not taking it personal is because when you mix emotions, you cannot get an objective opinion. If I
So
already
you're
come
here
in
for
it,
the objective opinion.
yeah,
I'm not here for the
because
objective
I'm
opinion.
trying to find out. I'm really curious
I
on what's in
understand that,
Project
but what I'm
2025
saying
because
is,
I do not know.
Tommy,
This is our first time going through it. So yes, I want to come in with an open mind
I
to
got
hear
you.
what is being said and then make my own opinion based off what was said. Not because I came in with a specific bias on how I feel about Donald Trump or Elon Musk. Because you acting like I'm best friends with them or I'm really standing with them like I'm really a Trump supporter. No, I'm a conservative. And so when
I understand what
conservative
you're saying.
opinions,
I guess what I'm saying is the fact that it's like you may come in with that whole concept of giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm coming in to try to figure out how we can counter this. So, and the reason why I'm trying to come in with that mind state is because at this moment, it's an attack on everything we got, and this is a 120-day mandate.
but we don't know if it's an attack. This is our first time going through it.
But what I'm saying, you did not realize that everything they're trying to implement, it was supposed to be like 120, 180 days that was supposed to, like, all of it supposed to be done. So
Well,
what's happening is happening like right now while we're talking, they're doing all of this other stuff. They're actually implementing this. So that's all I'm saying. Like tomorrow they're going out for a reason.
If this is okay, one thing I do know, if this is a 120-day or 180-day plan, there's nothing we can do to stop it. Yes, because anything we're gonna protest against is anything that we're gonna protest against, it's not gonna change as fast as they can change it. They can change it with a stroke of a pen. We gotta stand and march for days, weeks, months, however long we gotta do to get our opinion heard
I've been at it
before
for a
something
couple
actually
months now.
changes.
You know, I've been at Tesla Takedown. I know I've been at about for a couple months. I've not been traveling. Since I can't get on my plane for my $15, I canceled my Go Wild Pass. I would have been trying to go video call a video.
Yeah, but even though you've been out at Tesla takedown and you've been protesting and doing all that stuff for a couple months now, like, is that going to change legislation? It's not going to change legislation overnight. He can change.
No. I don't mind working at it. I don't mind.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I said if this was a plan for 120 days or 180 days,
so
it does not matter.
You gave up.
No. You misinterpreted what I'm trying to say. I'm saying this plan is moving way faster than you can protest it. That's it. This plan is moving way faster than you can ever protest it. If you want to protest this 922-page document,
the way I'm trying to do it is trying to enlighten others about it. And that's why I'm going through this. I'm not doing it to be objective. I'm doing it to be subjective on how we can change a lot of what's going on. Because a lot of our brothers and sisters have been losing their job, and they have been getting excellent marks on their work. And granted, what they're saying about as far as, a lot of people, everyone gets good marks when they're working. Granted, at the same time, I do understand that you have a different mind state. You doing the square up thing and everything like that is something that you really don't think of. Your mind is too, you know what I'm saying? You like a squirrel. You got to go out there and get it. You know what I'm saying?
But at the end of the day, it's good that you have your the way you want to look at it, and I have the way out, because we wouldn't have this little podcast or a little YouTube that we're doing anyway. If I was here just agreeing with you or vice versa, that would make some pretty. We're not. It's just like what was that? It was a that NBA Sportscast with what is his name? Stephen A. Smith and whatever that guy name was. But anyway, it was a good back and forth. Some things they agree about, some things they're gonna argue about, because that is entertaining. Everybody wants to see two sides.
I guess what I'm saying is, if that's true or not, I mean, You ready to move on? Because we still got a lot more to go through.
I know. I definitely know. We've been taking a lot of sidebars with this.
Well, I
I said I was
mean,
gonna.
shoot, this seems like you just want to stand on every hill.
I mean, shoot, that's what I'm here for, is to give my opinion, and then you want to give your opinion, and we having a conversation. So, shit,
All right,
it
let's
is
do
what
it.
it is.
All right, leveraging technology. The Census Bureau should focus on continuing to incorporate technology into its day-to-day operation, as well as to execution of its surveys, to reduce costs and provide more accurate and timely data to the American public. So, okay, so talking about putting them forms out on a more regular basis, sound like.
Getting some real internet up in them government facilities, make
Yeah.
it move faster.
Prioritizing cybersecurity and protection of confidential information, because much of the data collected by the Census Bureau include personal and confidential information. A focus of protecting data and implementing proper data protocols is necessary to ensure compliance with the legal requirements of Title 13.
Ain't that
So,
what you were saying? I mean, maybe they gotta give Elon Musk access to it, but they trying to secure it, I guess.
I mean, if you let the bank robber in there, I mean, if they steal a few dollars, so what? You're right. Let them steal a little bit, right? You're right. All right. So, decennial census. So, fully vet existing plan and budgeting from day one. Planning and budgeting from the 2030 decennial census will be finalized in fall 2025, including many decisions on how to use, develop, and administer the count. Incoming administration should immediately audit the life cycle costs estimate (LCCE) for the 2030 census and conduct a new LCCE if necessary. This will ensure that budget requests are accurate and up to date, and allow the new administration to understand the decennial process in greater details.
So basically, being more efficient. Okay.
Remove duplicative functions to increase efficiency. As part of the above review, ensure the decennial operational plan eliminates current duplication among ongoing census operations, annual surveys, etc., in decennial operations in information technology, human resources, etc. This overlap has been estimated to waste billions of dollars in years leading up to each decennial census.
Hey, before you get into the next one, can we go back to the pamphlet so I can just refresh on the points that they were making? So when we going through this, I can definitely understand.
Okay, so we'll go to the pamphlet real quick to see what they're talking about. So we were just working up to where it was saying review forthcoming changes to race and ethnicity questions. So again, it was saying make it harder for historical under-resourced communities to access Medicaid, Health, Head Start, and other government programs. Population counts can be essential to groups receiving appropriations and resources from the federal government, like Medicare, Head Start, community mental health programs, and much more. So Project 2025 plans to undercount or undermine the accuracy of these counts would hurt communities that have been economically marginalized.
Okay, what page does that start on?
Well, we started way before 680, because remember, I do a couple pages before so that we can get a gist of their pros on what they feel like they're going to be doing good, and then we can then analyze exactly what they feel like is bad.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I feel like we're just going over just basically efficiency. And it's not touching based on like that actual quote or
Well,
prompt.
that's, I mean, I got you. Well, right now we just got to that page where it's talking about 680. So we started at 678. And we basically went over the Census Bureau, just the making up, so we can at least get a little
clarification.
Yeah, a little information about it, and then talking about the day-to-day, and then talk about the good stuff, because people always talk about the good stuff and then hide the bad stuff in the end.
Okay, yeah. I'm just getting recaught up because we had that sidebar.
Oh yeah. Plus, it's a lot of information. So remove duplicative. We already said that one. Review the partnership program. This program designed to promote responsiveness to the census by employing trusted voices in various communities deserves careful scrutiny. A new administration should work to actively engage with conservative groups in voices to promote response to the decennial census. Promoting response to the decennial census will ensure that the most accurate counts are conducted, leading to a more accurate appointment of congressional representation in allocation of federal funds. In 2020, lack of conservative participation was one factor in undercount in some areas of the country, affecting representation of certain states. So this is basically talking about the process of getting the count.
Yeah,
They can conduct it. That's what I got from that. And that helps them figure out where the money goes. Is that what you got?
Yeah, basically. Like I said, these are all just like it's telling us, it's informing us. This is all informative before we get into what they plan to do.
Well, the thing is, I'm hoping to that I know that I hoping I already set up. I didn't tell you we have an educational one. I'm gonna do April 21st to the 23rd for like 3 days, same time, 6 to 8 o'clock. And some of this information we're gonna be able to really debate other people and not just us.
Okay.
So right now we're learning and learning. So that way when we do, we can help people understand what the program is saying and then have objective views and conversations about it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the next bullet point. Add a citizenship question. Despite finding that the Trump administration addition of the citizenship question to the 2020 decennial census violated the Administrative Procedures Act, the Supreme Court held that the Secretary of Commerce does have broad authority to add a citizenship question to the decennial census. Any successful conservative administration must include a citizenship question in the census. Asking a citizenship question is considered best practice even by the United Nations. By law, the Census Bureau must deliver the decennial census subjects topics to Congress 3 years before census day. In this case, by April 1st, 2027. Questions must be presented to Congress 2 years before census day, April 1st, 2028. So this is dealing with whatever the Congress normally go through.
Yeah, this is very informative because they're giving you dates and telling you like how the process even works. So yeah, that's definitely new information.
So let's go ahead, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just highlight this part right here, and I'm gonna put this in our notes because I'll be good to figure a little bit more out about, and then I'm gonna write the page 680. All right, let's continue on. So what I'm thinking is by them adding this question is they say it's some kind of violation to the Administrative Procedures Act. We have to figure out what that Procedures Act actually is and how it works. And for the most part, I guess they try to overturn it, but they're saying best practice the United Nations ask it. I know a lot of times, like a lot of people feel like our borders is too open. I have mixed feelings about that. I say like that because I don't want to pick no fruit.
But only 20% of our agricultural workforce is actually immigrants. So you wouldn't have to pick no fruit.
I also don't want to get on them roofs and do that hard work they do. Like when I used to be working with the cement, you know, Spanish people was really building up them houses.
Yeah,
Granted,
and
a
just
lot of the
because they're
quality has gone down.
Latino, doesn't mean that they are uh immigrants. A lot of people are like, because the people, why, if you looked at how many people voted for Trump this term of this election, it would show that the Hispanic men and Hispanic women had surged their vote for.
Yeah, they did. They voted for him,
And
and a lot of
the
them
reason
Cubans went back
and the
home.
reason why those are the people who voted for Trump is because they don't like immigrants just as much as we don't like immigrants,
Well, you
because
know, the
they're
light
actually.
skinned Latinos, some of them got deported in just like the other ones.
Yeah, but that's some. Majority of them were actually citizens, and like you do interviews. People do interviews on the street, and there's been plenty of people saying, I understand that people want to come to this country, but my I came to this country legally, or my parents came
Yeah.
to this country legally, and we own the same business, but we can't get no business because they rather hire illegal immigrants that will work for pennies on the dollar, when that is not a sustainable way of living. But they're okay with it because they just take the money and go back to whatever Latin country they come from.
I know African people who do the same thing, and it's crazy. You're right. Like for us, it's like, man, I have to holler at my boy Chris now that I think about it. But yeah, man, I'm just saying, like, you know, they go back home and they ball out with the little $5,000. You
I
feel me?
mean, pretty much every immigrant that comes to this country do the same thing. It doesn't matter if they're African, Hispanic, Chinese, Arab. That any immigrant even from
And
Europe,
you
they
know, what would
can
be
do the
so
same thing.
crazy to me. Someone can kill you and get away with it if they go back to their country.
Yeah,
But
because
you,
unless it's a political hit, or it's a very much well known hit, they're gonna get away with it every day of the week, and that's
yeah, yeah.
why.
But what I'm saying though, but you do something in this country, been a U.S. American citizen, ain't no place you
You
can hide, my boy.
No, and that's exactly what my mom talks about. She was like, that's why it's like, not only do they not pay taxes, or and then they get away and they take their money back to their country, but if they commit a crime, they have another place to go. I can't do that. Like we cannot do that. We cannot
Well, I
commit a
mean, the
crime and
thing
run
is,
somewhere
dual
else.
citizenship is something that technically we could have aimed for if we really wanted
No,
to.
they don't have dual citizens. They're immigrants. They're here
No,
either
I'm
on.
talking about like if we wanted to get dual citizenship, we technically could try.
Oh yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely. I
I
mean,
don't want to because it's like, you know, it's like, hey, I like all my family's here. You know what I mean? It's like if I moved to
hey,
Africa, you know, Africans really don't deal with African Americans like that. So
hey,
then I'll be
man.
having to justify my whole existence the whole time I'm there.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but shoot, it would be a lot easier for me to get dual citizenship in multiple countries than it would be you. But I'll
Yeah.
still be feeling the same way because, like obviously I'm an American, got American culture, but being multicultural, like I even talk
Canada's
to my.
just too cold for me, man. I thought about moving to Canada. It's too cold.
Nah, so my grandfather, he comes from the islands of Bermuda that's owned by the British. So I was like, Mom, you need to get your British citizenship so I can get mine. Or shoot, I know I got connections to Africa, Cameroon. And I was like, I can get a Cameroonian citizenship, but it's just like it's different steps I could take. But at the end of the day, like you said, you'll feel like an outsider being in somebody else's country. But
I
then
mean, it'll be too easy to kidnap us. We look like money. You know what I
yeah, and so that's the thing about immigrants that come to this country. They come here and make money, and like I have a business partner who is an immigrant. Technically, he here legally, so it's all good. But he always talks about how he's saving his money so he can retire back in his country. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you just using us.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that.
There's very much something wrong with that because
Let's look at the next bullet point. All right, we got review forthcoming changes to race and ethnicity questions. The current administration has announced its intent to change data collection. methods regarding race and ethnicity by combining the two questions on the additional questionnaire and increasing the number of available options. A new conservative administration should take control of this process and thoroughly review any changes. There are concerns among conservatives that the data under Biden administration proposals could be skewed to bolster progressive political agendas. Government data should be unbiased and trusted, and an incoming conservative administration should ensure that this work must be coordinated with the Office of Management and Budget, which governs federal data collection standards via its statistical directives. So what do you get from that?
I'm getting from what I've been saying is that what that post just said, or that paragraph just said, is definitely just true. Like, I don't believe the numbers that the Biden administration gave out were actually appropriate, because a lot of things that have been counted, it really be counted towards immigrants. And if you're saying that on a census that, hey, we got this many people that need food, but the people and all the people you counted, 50% of them immigrants. No, all them people don't need food. Them immigrants need to go back to the country if they can't afford their food, or
So,
whatever
so
government program.
you're saying like a good topic we can do will be trusting the Biden admin numbers, where the census real or not?
It's not as whether they're real or not, as if their bias is skewed. It's as if their options that you can select is open to anybody who's in this country. It's just like how the Biden administration was trying to allow non-citizens to vote for the president. And that was a real thing during this recent campaign. They were trying to make laws allow people who are not citizens to vote, just because they were permanent residents and permanent residents or had green cards. They're not citizens, so they cannot
All
vote.
right. So this is what we're gonna do. That's gonna be a topic. It's gonna be trusting Biden numbers. Where were they biased or not skewed?
You don't believe they were biased? Just
Well,
your
I'm
personal
not
opinion.
saying they wasn't. I'm not saying they weren't. I'm just saying that that's a lot of meat, and I don't want to go eat that meat right now. But I would like to put that, and then I'll be a good discussion for like 4 or 5 people to talk.
See, because I mean, you know everything about Trump and Elon Musk. When it comes to your opinions on them, and you be up in the news like you say, but you can't see that based on what's been put out to us, that without going to look at the numbers, that was skewed.
Well, what I'm saying is this. I know that Biden lost. I know that Biden's agenda is no longer being implemented.
We're not talking about if it was
So
it is
I'm
being
not really
implemented.
worried about Biden at all. I'm not worried about Kamala. At the same time, if other people are worried about it, then I'm willing to talk about it. But at the same time, I don't want to get stuck in the mud.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, if we were talking to like 3 or 4 other people 2 weeks from now on this, then we can get stuck in that mud as long as time permits. And then at that
Well, I
point,
know a
I'll
lot of
probably
things.
have like a stopwatch or something where we say, hey, that's enough time on this topic. We got to move on.
Well, I know that a lot of things in this in this mandate is based on previous presidency. You see all the time. It says the next administration, the next president, or it
Then it is
directly
just
names Biden.
keep acknowledging Biden's administration and everything that they've done, and keep talking about reversing what they've done.
Yeah, so I feel like we definitely need to be up to date on what Biden did, because he was just in presidency like 4 months ago. He was just
Yeah,
president.
that's true. I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is so much more information that we need to get. At the same time, that's the reason I'm making notes, and with those notes, like with this information, instead of me having an unfair advantage in reading all this before I talk to you, I'm absorbing this while you're absorbing. So that way I'm not over here talking about some, yeah, man, but you know what I'm saying? Or I already have something to cherry pick. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. So but yeah, but if we make notes on it for the most part, like you know what I mean, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that dang Hatchet Act or something of that nature. That's something that you know I will make it a point for like for me to at least get a PDF on it, and then at that point, we're going to be a little bit more versed in whoever we talk to about it, and we'll have a little bit more background if they didn't do it themselves before we even talk to them.
Yeah. Just coming in somewhat knowledgeable. I understand. Question about how much left we got in this chapter?
This is the I mean, I was gonna just go through this last thing, and after that, fact, hold on. So devaluate all decimal census questions, determine how to best optimize use of the decimal census to determine whether current or additional questions provide added value in coordination with other departments that utilize information. Overly intrusive questions or less crucial data should either be moved to another survey or removed from census programs entirely. Let's move back to let's move back and get to the next. So we probably have like 2 more pages.
Okay.
So Project 2025 would advise a future administration to hamstring these revisions by instructing the White House Office of Management and Budget to reverse them and ensure that other federal agencies are not aiding in the collection of more accurate data. This would leave historically underrepresented communities at a disadvantage when it comes to accessing critical programs we rely on every day, from Medicaid to Head Start. 3, how they'll do it. Undermine gender equality across the government. Project 2025 would eliminate the White House Gender Policy Council, which is key to promoting contraception access, gender-based violence prevention, and women's health equity. Under the Biden administration, the White House Gender Policy Council has led efforts to increase access to contraception, published the National Plan to End Gender-Based Violence, and begun groundbreaking research into how women's health is studied across the country. Project 2025 would immediately disband the council and prioritize coordinating efforts that push for promoting life and emphasize a narrow vision of what defines a family. From Mandate for Leadership, page 62.
Okay. This is another one I'm gonna call BS on. First of all, what I got from that is that hey, this administration is going to do away
So
with
which part do you feel like is the most bunk? Like so I can highlight it.
all of it. All of it. From it said undermine gender equity across government. Nobody's undermining gender equity across government. What they're going to do is remove DEI, which will stop forcing people to push for women, which are part of DEI, into government. If you didn't earn your seat, you should not be there. And I feel like, hey, that's an attack on representation of contraceptive, because if we had more women in government, then more women will speak out in government about how we need these abortion pills and abortions or whatever the case might be. And so when he goes down to the bottom and says the Gender Policy Council, that there's no Gender Policy Council. That's not a real thing. What they're talking about is simply the fact that hey, more women will give you counsel on gender policies, when that's not the case. Women are already a minority in government, and it's not because of anybody's previous biases. No, because if that was the case, then Hillary Clinton would have been president or Kamala Harris would be president. But women do not vote for women to be in government. That's why women are not in government, because if women voted for women to be in government, they will be in government, because there's more women in this country than there are men. But no, that's not a real
Well, I
thing.
mean, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of women who are in government, except that a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of women in government. I mean, black women, there's white women. You know, it's a variety.
Yeah, but when we compare it to the census of how many men are in government, they are probably like 2-3% max in government. So and they're basically getting mad that Trump is dealing away with DEI, and so they feel underrepresented. But at the end of the day, the only reason why women are underrepresented in government is because women don't vote for women. That's the point blank period. There's more women in this country than there are men. So if any woman, like how when Barack Obama wanted to be president, he did not only get blacks to vote for him, but he also got whites to vote for him. He got a majority majority of the populist vote. So when somebody really wants somebody to be in there, they're gonna vote for them. So don't sit here and cry and say, hey, we're losing representation, and we need women to be in government so they can fight for our rights. Y'all are not the ones that y'all not voting for
Yeah.
women.
So looking at this, I just, you know, asked the question. It says in 2023, the federal workforce was largely white, 59.5%, round up to 60, with a significant portion identifying as Black African American at 18.8, round up to 19, Hispanic Latino 10%, and Asian 6.7%, rounded up to 7. The federal workforce is slightly more male, 53.8, and skews older than the overall civilian workforce. So that means older people, generally older, who get into there, and it looked like it's really
Okay. So it's a lot. There's
47%. That's real
actually
close.
Yeah, there's actually a lot more women in there. So when you're talking so that even more disimprove what they're trying to preach. Oh,
Well, this is
we're under
2023, so
we
it's not
just
2025.
Okay, but do you think that it has dropped that significant? The women in government has dropped significantly from 47% to 20 or 15%? I don't believe so. And not only do I not believe so, you cannot sit here and propagate that, hey, we are underrepresented in the government, when that's not the case. It really ain't the case. You have almost 50% of women. So if you're saying that, hey, Trump is doing is firing women, let that be a newscast. Hey, Trump just fired 23% of the female workforce. Let that be the narrative before you sit up here and say that we're underrepresented and we cannot get a contraceptive because women are not in the government, when it's almost damn near 50-50 at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
it is. It's close. It's close. I tell you, there's a lot of women there. Plus, I mean, my thing is the fact that, you know, it's like when you go into an office, normally the reception is a woman. You know, that's what normally it is. You know, is just, and then with a lot of times, like you hear like individual like Cat Williams say he don't really want men to work certain jobs. He like women to work certain jobs because they just work better in doing certain things. Like especially when you talk about coordinating things, you know, they tend to be a lot more nitpickier. They tend to be more precise and attention to detail a lot of times
Oh, well,
versus.
I mean, you got that from Cat Williams. I got it from Cat Williams. It's like, I don't want to hang around a bunch of dudes because I'd rather look at a bunch of women doing it. That's what I got from when he said that. But I mean,
We got two different things. I didn't get that from him. I got the thing where it's like the ability to move around and have certain kinds of characteristics. He's just rather a more lady touch. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
when
She's able
certain thing. If
to.
I want somebody to decorate my house, I'm gonna hire a woman. If I
Yeah,
want
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
women do got a very attention to detail. But definitely men lead better than women. They just
Oh
do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're not as a lot of times I feel like as petty.
I won't say petty, but like how they have really good attention to details. They will focus on something that does not matter, and it will stop the train from moving. And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we can keep going and just worry about that later, and we don't have to. But it'll stop the whole flow. So yes, women are better at doing things better than men. That's why I have a wife. My wife, if I need to find something, she gonna go find it for me because she can look at places I'll never think about. Or if she wants to calm our children down, she gonna go do that
Ready for the
because I'm a
Gender Policy Council?
okay. Yeah, this we're gonna wrap this up with this. Yeah,
Hey, let me get let's get a little bit more if you don't mind.
it's not me. It's not me.
Yeah, I got you. Gender Policy Council, GPC. The president should immediately revoke Executive Order 14020 in every policy, including
Oh, we don't even know what that.
regulatory guidance documents produced on behalf of or related to the establishment or promotion of the Gender Policy Council and its subsidiary issues. Abolishing the Gender Policy Council would eliminate central promotion of abortion, health services, comprehensive sexuality education, and the new woke gender ideology, which has a principal tenet: gender affirming care and sex change surgeries on minors. In addition to eliminating the council, developing new structures and positions will have the dual effect of demonstrating that promoting life and strengthening the family is a priority, while also facilitating more seamless coordination and consistency across the U.S. government. Specifically, the president should appoint a position point of contact with the rank of special assistant to the president, or hired to coordinate and lead the president's domestic priorities on issues related to life and family in cooperation with the Domestic Policy Council. This position would be responsible for facilitating meetings, discussions, and agreements among personnel, coordinated administration, policy, and ensuring agency support for implementation of policies related to promotion of life and family in the U.S.
I don't have nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Basically, he's saying because nobody can agree in Congress about what we should or should not do about abortion or sex changes on children, leave it up to the president. Yes, the president is the head of the country, and at the end of the day, shoot, again, if nobody can agree, shoot, that's why we have a president. He is like the third person to agree or to make decisions, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially when it comes to that topic. In my
Well,
personal,
I guess if we had a president that wasn't a clown, then I would feel comfortable with that. But
I mean, even if he is a clown, like you said, the devil can do some good stuff. Like, and that is something that I'm not saying we all can agree on because everybody has their own opinion, but that is something that majority of the United States population can agree with. That I can say for
so
sure.
let's go ahead and talk about this LGBT thing.
Okay.
Number 4, how they'll do it: allow more discrimination against LGBTQ plus youth in adoption and foster care agencies. Project 2025 will make it easier for state and child welfare agencies, which are charged by the public to provide appropriate care for children, to cite religious exemptions as a way to promote bigotry.
No. Mm-mm.
In
Keep going.
2022, more than 368,000 children were enrolled in foster care in the U.S. Project 2025 would instruct the Department of Health and Human Services to repeal a 2016 regulation that provides additional protection for foster youth related to sexual orientation and gender identity, enabling adoption and foster care agencies to subject vulnerable children to whims of extreme religious beliefs would be detrimental to the physical, mental, and emotional health of fostered and adopted youth, especially LGBTQ plus youth who are already dealing with intense adversities. So 477.
That I honestly
think that's a bunch of BS, right? So if you're going, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's how I look at it. You cannot say that this country is unlawful, and then when the country says, "Hey, we're doing this for religious reasons," with religious reasons, and which would be a law, and say, "Oh, okay, you can't do that because your laws is going against what we're trying to do." So it's just like a woman saying that, "Hey, I don't want to be oppressed," but then turn around and try to oppress men. It does not work like that. You can not say, "Hey, these kids are not being adopted because they are part of the LGBTQRS community." And if I was a parent, me and my wife, we couldn't have kids, and we go in to an adoption agency and say, "Hey, we're looking for a kid," and you bring us a perfect kid. The only thing is that they are part of something that we do not believe in. And then it's also what this nation is trying to stand on, which is religious beliefs, which would be Christianity for this country. Um, you're gonna be like, "Oh, no, 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 that's unfair to these kids." Well, if we're just being honest, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You cannot have a country that participates in freedoms, which will be laws that you want passed, but then turn around and don't like the laws that's already passed, or don't like the political agenda that's being pushed. Like,
So right now, this is what they're talking about: life consequences and bodily integrity. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read the bullet points. Prohibit abortion traveling funding. So they're basically saying they're not going to try to fund their travel. Something in section 1115 waivers or such. The next one will be prohibit Planned Parenthood from receiving Medicaid funds. And then after that, they go through 2 different actions to limit the funding. So issue guidance re-emphasizing that states are free to defund Planned Parenthood in their state Medicaid plans. Propose rulemaking to interpret the Medicaid statute to disqualify providers of elective abortion from the Medicaid program. Some kind of something they're trying to pass called Protecting Life and Taxpayer Act. So we're going to copy and paste that and keep it moving.
I don't. What I see so far from what I see from the pamphlet is that the prompts that are being made is just like, "Hey, we didn't win the election, and so we need to make it known that,
They
hey,
they they
you
they
guys
put
need
this
to
out before
protest."
the election was done. They did this in June.
No, no, no. But yes, that's not the point I'm trying to get at. The point I'm trying to get at is that is we're not getting our way, and so we need to protest us getting our way. And then y'all should look at how these people are trying to make us do something we don't want to do.
I
When
mean,
at the
I got you.
at the
So
end of the day, that's every government. When a
I'm
Republican
trying to
comes
make a
into
difference, and you trying to learn, and we got limited time. You already said that. So let's go ahead and read these bullet points, and then you know what I'm saying, because if we can, you know what I'm saying, it got 1 page and we done, because you know what I mean, I would hate to have to hold off on that last piece, just you know what I'm saying, when we can actually get through it. You know, that's one reason I'm just going through the bullet points, not trying to read the whole thing. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, but we don't have to speed through it that quick. We definitely need to dive into the
I mean,
underlying
what's the
paragraph.
topic that you like to come back to then?
No, no, no. I'm not just talking about that. I'm just saying reading the bullet points won't get the point across. We gotta dive into the underlying paragraphs as well. We're gonna go to the page. We can
Oh,
go
well, I
through it.
mean, the thing is, this is like 3 page. I'm like 5, 6 pages in front of the page I need to be on. So this is page 472 that we're on, and 477 is what page I need to be on.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Definitely go through the bullet points then.
Yeah. All right. So, but at the same time, my thing is, it's a lot of meat and potatoes that I'm feeling from this, and you know what I'm saying. So,
We can
all right.
definitely touch bases on this before tomorrow's session for sure.
Okay. So withdraw Medicaid funds for states that require abortion insurance or that discriminate in violations of the Weldon Amendment. So we're gonna have to Copy and paste that. Because I know other people really gonna want to know. All right, so rewrite the ACA abortion separate payment regulations. So section 1303 of Obamacare. So let's go ahead, copy and paste that. And audit hide amendment compliance. Reverse distorted pro-abortion interpretation added to Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. I don't know what that is, but that's also one reason I'm just trying to copy and paste and get, like, you know what I'm saying, because you know that's gonna be the juice.
I mean, that's why I was saying we come back and re-review this. Was a lot of the stuff.
Oh yeah, we don't have more time.
Yeah. A lot
so
of
what I'm saying, the notes is telling us what we need to focus on.
Yeah, no, but I don't want the notes that are is what we need to focus on. But we also agreed that those are something that we'll make a whole different video about. But these are things that we need to understand, and that's where they're trying to get us to understand. Like we are saving it just so we can come back to understand it. So I don't think we need to wait a couple weeks to come back and understand it. We can do that tomorrow before we jump back in.
Oh, I mean, the whole thing is, I'll rather have an overview of everything and then come back and deep dive later. Because it's so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because it's so much, I don't want to get caught in just like let's just stop here. It's more like let's go ahead, because I don't mind going over this 5 times. But at the same time, every time I look at it, I know that I'm gonna get different stuff from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, most definitely. This is definitely one of those things that you reread again, and then maybe read again one more time because it's just that deep.
Yeah, plus I know there's gonna be a lot more people that's gonna want to talk about this. Like, I really like, honestly, this stuff about sex changes, stuff like that, I could care less. You know, that's not my lane. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, no, it's not that you could care less. It's just that you already know where you stand on your opinion about it. So, but everybody else don't have the same opinion. So I think we definitely should still talk about it.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, I like, I know that I have no desire on changing my sex. I have no desire on
I could care less what another grown person do with their own business, but when we talking about kids, come on now. Like, you won't even let your kids get a cell phone, but you let them change their sex. That's crazy to me. You won't let them get them brand new car, but you will spend 20,000 on them to change their sex. That's crazy to me. Like, there's so many rules and stuff that you won't allow a kid to do. But for some reason, this is a topic of discussion. I don't even know why this is a topic of a discussion. You ain't nobody talking about circumcising little boys, and that's just a very common procedure that's done in America, when a boy is born. But nobody talk about that. But they talk about him cutting his whole scrotum off. Nah, that's wild to me.
So this is the part I'm gonna read out, because this is what they're referring to.
Yeah, go ahead.
The adoption reform. There are roughly 400,000 children across the nation in the waiting list for foster care, and 100,000 awaiting adoptive families. In the opioid and fentanyl crisis is putting more at risk every day. Unfortunately, many of the faith-based adoption agencies that serve these children are under threat from lawsuits, or else their licenses and contracts have been halted because they cannot, in good conscience, place children in every household due to their religious belief that a child should have a married mother and father. HHS, through ACF and the Assistant Secretary for Financial Resources, should repeal the unnecessary 2016 regulation that imposes a non-statutory sexual orientation and gender identity non-discrimination condition on agency grants, and return the policy of maximizing the option for placing vulnerable children in their forever homes. ACF and OCR should also survey their programs to consider whether additional waivers of HHS grant conditions, waivers the Biden administration revoked in 2021, are needed for faith-based agencies. Additionally, Congress should pass the Child Welfare Provider Inclusion Act to ensure that providers and organizations cannot be subjected to discrimination for providing adoption and foster care services based on their religion, their beliefs by marriage. Okay.
I mean, I don't understand why. Let's take religion out of it, because that's a emotional based response depending on what religion you base it on. Let's just talk about how logically we were just talking about how women are better at other things and men are better at some things. So why wouldn't I get a vulnerable child into a balanced family instead of a skewed family? Because no matter how much you could say, oh, a man can do this and a woman can do that, that's only like physical. What about emotional? What about mentally? Those are some things that men and women perceive differently, and that's why we have a balance of men and women and when creating a child. So when you're trying to talk about placing a child in a forever home or an adoption home, wouldn't you want to get them the best chances at life by giving them a balanced take on both sides, not just what they perceive that they're good at?
Well, I'm gonna say, like, my whole thought process of the healthcare system is a business, and what that means is, like, me personally, I can never imagine like putting, like, my father in old folks home like that. That's something that I can't imagine doing, or allowing him to be in the possession of someone having the right, the power of attorney over them in that type of position, where once they get you in that is like that care system, then a lot of times they get that power of attorney and your possessions are now their possessions. And so what that means is your house can technically be rented out by them, sold by them, and then they can make the argument it had to be sold by them in order to take care of you. So
Yeah, but
I'm always iffy when it comes down to those public services.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the risk we take, but I find it riskier to go against statistics. I find it riskier to go against logic. Now, old people in their possessions is a different story, but we're talking about, they even quoted vulnerable children. So
Well, some people are parents not because they
again, I
they're doing
said,
it for the
yeah,
money,
yeah,
and if
of
they're doing
course.
it for the money,
I
they might
said
not
that
treat the
is a.
child
I'm
right.
not. Of course, I said that is a risk. That is, but I'm talking about statistics, and I'm talking about logically.
What
Like,
what 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 topic do you want to come back to on this one?
um, so scroll all the way down.
Oh, you want me to go back to? I'll go back to here. So this is
Oh no, wait.
the
Yeah, it
mandate.
switched. No, yeah. Um, we can talk about housing LGBTQ kids in foster homes. That could be a definite topic that we deep dive into. Um, but yeah, no, I gotta wrap it up here. I'm over schedule.
All right, cool. Hey, we gonna have to we're gonna wrap it up for the most part, but if we were
But
about to get to,
if you want to get up, I'm gonna be up early tomorrow. If you want to
what
come
time in the
back,
morning you talking about?
shit, I'll probably be up at like 8. So, we want so we can wrap this up, so we don't have to later at 6 p.m. try to speed through this again.
Well, what I'm saying is, well, with just this part right here is talking about the black community and sexual orientation discrimination identity. We could wrap this up in the morning, and then I have to hit the streets.
Okay, yeah, we got that. Because that's
Yeah,
the
so I'm
topic.
just
That's the
saying, like, huh?
yeah, that's gonna be a topic that I could talk about for like at least 30 minutes straight. Like, sexuality in black communities. Y'all just trying to turn everybody gay. Look at Atlanta.
No comment. But yeah, hey, for the most part, bro, let's shoot for let's say If it's 8 a.m., that's cool. And after that, we can make it to like 8 to 9:15. And then when I'm done talking to you, I'm be headed out.
All right, that's it.
All right. Appreciate your time.
All right, that's what.
All right.